Sizzling Entrees are back with 2 new entrees, so treat yourself to something special, like the Sizzling Smokehouse Chicken Stack or Sizzling Cajun Steak and Shrimp layer with flavors you can see, taste, and hear. Head to Applebee's today for Sizzling Entrees. Fresh flavor never sounded so good. Half-off salon services at 7 Sins Hair Studio in Metro West. ODealsDaily.com.
From 540 WFLA, Orlando's 24-hour weather channel, we will set the stage for some showers and thunderstorms to pop up this afternoon, and we'll also see the possibility of some record highs today. Highs today reaching 95, tonight's low 71 with the showers tapering off. Weather's updated around the clock on 540 WFLA. Richard Wedding at the Weather Channel.
Score with 540 WFLA Sports.
Well, say goodnight, Boston.
Left side, James down to 5. James for 3. He got it! LeBron from downtown! He nails another 3! And the Heat lead by 6 with 40 seconds left in this game.
Miami Heat Radio with the call as LeBron James scored the game's final 10 points as Miami beat Boston 97-87. The Celtics, who led by 6 at 87-81, went scoreless down the stretch as Miami pulled away to win their Eastern Conference semifinal series 4-1. James finished with 33, Dwayne Wade 34, and talked about finally getting past the Celtics.
It feels great. You know, I've been through a playoff series and regular season games and not having much success against these guys. And, you know, as much as, you know, I love my teammates back in Cleveland, as much as I loved home, I knew I couldn't do it by myself against that team. And I knew that was a team that I wanted to get over the hump against. And I knew at that point that I had to get with some guys that, you know, could match them as far as talent-wise and mentally loving the game and wanting the game just as much as they did. So it feels great.
In other NBA action, Oklahoma City took a 3-2 series advantage over Memphis. And in sad news from the NBA, former Milwaukee Bucks forward Robert Tractor Trailer was found dead in Puerto Rico of an apparent heart attack. He was 34. I'm Brant Parsons with sports on your Gator Nation station, 540 WFLA.
We serve both sides of the breakfast menu, but recommend what's on the right. BHL continues on 540 WFLA.
Thursday at 8:05, our regularly scheduled house call from my doctor, Ken Cronhouse from Lake Cardiology, with a bag full of breaking health and medical news. And, Doc, welcome aboard. Good Thursday morning to you, my friend. Doc, are you there? Somebody revive the doctor. No. Ken, let me ask you about this research that you've been reading that I billboarded before the news at 8 o'clock. You know, you're beginning to think that there isn't any medicine out there you can take without some nasty side effects. And now we're talking about the main ingredient in Tylenol. Interesting. Doc, is it possible for you to make any kind of a blanket statement that on the most popular over-the-counter painkillers, and I would count them, you know, as Tylenol and then Advil and aspirin, is there one that has less potential problem for you than the others? Is there one that would be your over-the-counter painkiller of choice? Very good. Appreciate that. Also, you've got some research on painkillers that folks would take after they've had the big one, the heart attack. Mm-hmm. Why would that be true? I know aspirin, for example, seems to thin the blood, which would seem to be a good scenario post-heart attack. But these others don't do that, or what? All right, in the cancer realm on the House call right now, a red flag for gay guys out there, right, Doc? Wow. Wow. All right. There we are on that score. And now let's talk about strokes, which are, there's so many folks as they begin to get a little older or they're looking at their own folks, begin to worry about that because they see what happens when people get them, and it seems to happen to so many. There's some interesting new research on strokes and when they occur. Mm-hmm. Very, very interesting. And also, with the caveat of no need to be afraid here, we're talking about a particular kind of flu vaccine. What do we know? Well, I got to tell you, my wife says, Bud, man, you're a real tough guy, but you're a total wimp when it comes to needles. And boy, I tell you, she is right. So this is going to hurt less, right? Okay, good. All right, now, heartburn medications. I mean, there are a lot of those that are out there over the counter, and people take them and thinking there's no downside, but new research suggests otherwise. What's the warning here? Sounds to me like the bottom line on all of these items you brought us today related to these common over-the-counter medications is moderation, and you don't get into trouble unless you're really just putting this stuff down on a regular basis. Wonderful. Yeah. Yep. Wonderful talking with you, Doc. Dr. Ken Kronhaus at Lake Cardiology, My Heart Doc, and My Heart Doc. You know what? I've been talking for 3 solid hours almost right now. I'm starting to run out of gas. Hey, listen, Doc, thank you so much for joining us. We'll catch you for another house call next Thursday at 8:05, okay? Okay, and he'll be seeing patients today at Lake Cardiology, home of the Bud Scan. Give him a call. Learn all about it. It saved my life, might save yours, or the life of someone you love. Lake Cardiology, home of Dr. K, 352-735-1400. 352-735-1400. Doc on the radio, 540 WFLA, every Sunday afternoon for 2 hours, 2 to 4. Super show. Don't miss it. Good Day Health with Dr. Ken. 8:12 now on VHL.
From the David Moss Volkswagen Lee Road Traffic Center, westbound I-4 is slow going in between 434 headed towards Maitland Boulevard, and we're also very slow westbound through downtown. And seeing delays as well westbound near the Turnpike. It looks like there's a crash a little past the Turnpike off to the right side of the roadway, although traffic is very slow through this area. Eastbound along I-4 with typical delays between Michigan Street into Ivanhoe Boulevard. And we are very slow westbound along the 408 from Dean Road, just a little past Goldenrod. From the Traffic Center, I'm Courtney Bright.
From 540 WFLA, Orlando's 24-hour weather channel, we will set the stage for some showers and thunderstorms to pop up this afternoon, and we'll also see the possibility of some record highs today. Highs today reaching 95, tonight's low 71 with the showers tapering off. Weather's updated around the clock on 540 WFLA. Richard Wedding at the Weather Channel.
Good morning, I'm Michelle Morello. Coming up in your 8:30 news, Orange County Sheriff's deputies searching for the men involved in an armed robbery. A couple of cold fronts headed for Florida that could give you some relief for this record-breaking heat, and congressional Republicans want to talk about lifting that drilling moratorium.
Hey, you know, this fabulous top-of-the-line Acura RL sedan, jet black beauty that I'm driving for my friends at Fountain Acura so I can rave to you about it, is just the most amazing machine. And if you're not ready to buy a new Acura, you can save thousands on their incredible lineup at Fountain Acura of certified pre-owned Acuras, one of the finest selections you're going to find on the planet. Now, not only do you get the Fountain customer service you so richly deserve, but every certified pre-owned Acura at Fountain includes this: a 12-month, 12,000-mile limited warranty, a 7-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, super protection. They're going to dress them up like new for you. All certified pre-owned Acuras at Fountain go through a rigorous 150-point inspection process. It's like a new car. And right now, through the end of this month, well-qualified buyers like you at Fountain are going to get 1.9% financing for 24 to 36 months on Acura certified pre-owned TL models. That TL's a honey, too. I've driven it. I love it. Fountain Acura. Go see them. South OBT, just south of the Florida Mall. And online, there's more at fountainacura.com.
You get up early. You work late. Weekends off? Not likely. Why? Because as a small business owner, it's more than your job. It's what you love. And you need technology that keeps pace with your passion. That's why Verizon delivers all the wireless solutions you need to make sure your business rules. Verizon technology gives you the power to enable growth and boost productivity. Because only Verizon offers an arsenal of advanced devices, powerful business apps, and mobile security safeguards, all backed by unrivaled customer support and the fastest, most advanced 4G network in America. More small businesses choose Verizon Wireless than any other wireless carrier because they know the small business with the best technology rules. Now get the lightning fast Thunderbolt by HTC for only $249.99. No rebate required, exclusively at Verizon. Visit any Verizon store, verizonwireless.com/smallbusiness, or call 1-800-BZW-4BIZ. Requires new tier activation and data pack. Early termination and other fees apply. Preference results based on third-party study.
Dave Ramsey here. If you're looking for an awesome real estate agent to buy or sell a home, my
And the Budman here, and I hope you join me Friday morning starting at 6 for the very latest on the new threats facing America in the aftermath of the killing of Osama bin Laden. And don't miss our daily Wall Street Journal update at 6:35. At 7, courts decide a law banning loud music in cars is unconstitutional. Right or wrong call. And at 8, should you be taxed more for having a fat kid?
BHL in the morning.
And the Budman here, and I hope you join me Friday morning starting at 6 for the very latest on the new threats facing America in the aftermath of the killing of Osama bin Laden. And don't miss our daily Wall Street Journal update at 6:35. At 7, courts decide a law banning loud music in cars is unconstitutional. Right or wrong call. And at 8, should you be taxed more for having a fat kid?
Bud Henninger, mornings on 540 WFLA.
But they are really helpful yet. So maybe
Hey, I hope you've been out to the one and only Lucas Nursery, and if you have been, I know you will go back, and you'll be a lifetime customer, because truly there is no place like Lucas Nursery. I mean, it's a Central Florida attraction, in addition to the finest place to buy the finest flowers and shrubs I've ever seen in my life. The Lucas family, Phil, Sarah, and the rest of the gang, and their fine staff, so knowledgeable. They've been working the same great plot of land for the better part of 100 years now. 4 generations at Lucas Nursery. You know, they feature the largest garden pottery collection in the Southeast, the incredible indoor butterfly encounter, that phenomenal gift shop. It's all for you to see and enjoy at Lucas Nursery, the one and only off the 417. Worth the drive from anywhere. Lucas Nursery off the Redbug exit of 417 on the corner of Slavia and Aloma. Go see them and give them the Budman's best. They're wonderful folks, and what a special place. Online, LUKASnursery.com. You know, I'm a Tea Party guy, and a lot of you are Tea Party as well, through and through. But we're about to find out who really is rock solid and committed to the principles of the Tea Party movement as the big debt ceiling vote comes up. And that's where the focus is. I'm on record as saying enough is enough. Whether they get spending cuts or not, I would not vote and will not support anybody who votes to raise the debt ceiling limit. And let's find out how Michael Prell feels about that. He is the strategist for the Tea Party Patriots and the author of the first great Tea Party book, Under Dogma. Michael, welcome back to Bud Hedinger Live. Good morning to you.
Bud, it's great to be back. Thank you.
Now let's talk about it. Where are you on this debt ceiling vote that is looming?
I am 100% with Bud. Right? Let's just first define what it means to raise the debt ceiling, because currently it's being branded and defined as, quote, that thing we must do right now or the world will fall apart, right, which is the same scare story that politicians use to sell us bad ideas all the time. I mean, lest we forget, just a little while ago, the president, his chief of staff, and Hillary Clinton all said, quote, never let a good crisis go to waste.
Well, that was a Rahm Emanuel line, you know, but you know what's interesting? We were told we got to pass the stimulus bill right now. We got to do it. And then the TARP bill before that, Henry Paulson was screaming for the $700 billion. You got to do it now or it's the end of life as we know it. And they scare us into things that are bad for the country. And you say that's exactly what's going on with this debt ceiling vote.
Absolutely. You know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. You know, this is the third and fourth and fifth time that they're going down this road saying we must do this terribly stupid thing right now or everything will fall apart. So actually, what does raising the debt ceiling actually mean? So let's put it in common sense terms about what they're asking to do here. I mean, imagine that you took every dollar that you had and just spent it. You're broke. Okay, that's what the U.S. government has done. But instead of cutting back or reducing your spending or selling off assets, you go ahead and spend all the money that your children and grandchildren will ever earn in their lifetimes. Then you go to every tyrannical credit card company in the world, get the maximum credit for all of them, and then max out those credit cards, and then, which is where we are today, go to the people and say, please raise our credit limit yet again so we can keep spending instead of doing the responsible things that you and your listeners would have to do in 1/10 of that situation.
Michael, hang on and let's continue on this vein here in 1 minute. Michael Prell, the strategist for the Tea Party Patriots, opposed as am I, and I hope you are as well, with the raising of the debt ceiling. More on what's really going on here in Washington as we continue with Michael Prell. At 8:22, I want to check the commute for you. It's real-time traffic and weather together. Our promise is always updated on the 2s. Midsummer preview weather-wise, sunny, hot, and humid, 95, 75 degrees already here in Orlando. We're back on the line with Michael Prell, strategist for the Tea Party Patriots. Continue, Michael.
we heard some tough talk this week from Mr. Boehner about what he's going to do, and our dear friend Rush Limbaugh, he painted it as a line in the sand that John Boehner cannot go back from. But I think actually Rush was having a little bit of fun with John Boehner, because Rush is not a stupid man. Because I went and read what John Boehner actually said. That was not a line in the sand. That was a line in quicksand. That was a line in quicksand with a lot of back doors and trap doors, just like the back door that he escaped from so that he could avoid being asked any questions after he dropped his little speech. Because here's what he said. He said that he used the word should a lot, not I will. And then he said that the cuts that he's going to, quote, insist on should be greater than the accompanying increase in debt authority. In other words,
so we're talking trillions instead of billions was the headline out of Boehner.
Right, but that was a separate sentence. That was after a period. That was an aspirational sentence that he said that it should. Things should, right? I should have my own, racetrack that I can drive on it whenever I want. But it's not what he said he would do. And he said that the cuts that he called for should be greater than not the current debt, not the current deficit, but greater than simply the increase in the debt ceiling that he's asking for. That's what he said. So in addition to that, he went on and admitted, quote, as I said earlier, not increasing the debt ceiling would be irresponsible. So that's his opening gambit to admit to the person across the poker table, by the way, keep raising me because I'm going to fold no matter what my tough talk is and raise the debt ceiling and you can take the whole pot. So that is no way to negotiate, to signal before day one that you will, which is what he said on Monday, raise the debt ceiling.
Let me have you present some analysis here as the Tea Party Patriot strategist, Michael Prell. The thing is, the scare tactics are working, and I believe a lot of folks listening to me who would call themselves rock-solid fiscal conservatives and Tea Party people are scared to death based on what Geithner and everybody else has been telling us will happen to this country, to our economy, to the economy of the world, to our standing in the world if we do not raise the debt ceiling, cannot pay our bills, and ultimately end up defaulting.
And that is the frame being set up by the administration and supported, frankly, by the Republicans. And it's just not the right way to look at it. They're saying if you don't do this stupid thing, the world will fall apart. Okay.
What will happen if we don't? What will happen if we refuse? And I'm not sure there's enough guts in the Congress collectively and the White House, forget it, and we do not agree to raise the debt ceiling. What does happen?
Here are some totally legitimate options. Before you raise your credit card limit, how about you try cutting back? How about you live within your means? How about you actually sell things like that second or third or 25th car that you have in the driveway? Do those first. And here's my suggestion to Mr. Boehner, because we just saw what he did a few weeks ago when his promised $100 billion in cuts went to $60 billion, then $38 billion, and then zero. I say trust but verify. Don't trust the people across the table who just had their way with you and say, okay, Mr. President, if we must, and this should be the last resort, but if you must raise the debt ceiling, White House, you go first. You do all of your cuts first, and then we'll talk about raising the debt ceiling. But first, just like everyone listening today, act responsibly, live within your means, cut back, sell assets, and then maybe, after you've learned your lesson, we can talk about those credit cards and maybe raising the limit.
I've only got a minute left with Michael Prell, strategist for the Tea Party Patriots. What do you buy into this, that if we do not raise the debt limit and we end up defaulting as we cannot pay our bills and meet our obligations here and worldwide, do you buy into the fact that we might be facing a recession worse than what we've just started to emerge from, and that we could send the entire world, because of how dominant we are as the largest economy, into the economic dumper?
They would like us to believe that, but what the barrier will be if it's crossed with this debt ceiling and if America, quote, defaults, which actually is not true. It can go on for a long time. The net interest payments are $207 billion. There's actually enough money in the system to keep this going for months and months and months, if not a year, while they get their house in order, which they haven't even tried to do. But let's say that barrier is crossed and America, quote, defaults. Is it going to be worse than what happened just a couple weeks ago with Standard & Poor's?
What's the answer? What is the answer? I'm almost out of time. What do you predict will happen, and are you willing to face that?
What I'm going to say is I predict that there will be no greater damage than what has already happened to America's standing and stature in the world. The world knows that America is broke. The world knows that America is overspending, and that will not change no matter what happens in this debate.
Thank you very much, Tea Party strategist, Tea Party Patriot strategist Michael Prell. How do we connect to you and your book, Under Dogma? UNDER-DOGMA.com, under-dogma.com. Thank you so much. Thank you, Michael Prell, very much. So what about it? Are you a rock-solid Tea Party guy or gal? If so, I think you have to be with Michael Prell and the Budman. No increase in the debt ceiling, no matter what. Are you there? 407-916-5400 at 828.
Like Advil, Advil PM, and Thermacare. Count on us to deliver the relief that works best for you, so you can live your life and enjoy our plans. Even better, if you buy 50-count Advil or 40-count Advil Liquid Gel bonus packs, you get 50% more product free. At Winn-Dixie, you can get the relief you want, so you can really live. Use these products as directed. Offer good June 1st to June 30th, 2011. Someday I can be a marine biologist. Or a park ranger. Oh, a concert? Conservationist. I know. I want to drive a train.
Helping the planet is the value kids and CSX share. Up to 5 times more fuel efficient than trucks, CSX trains are the most environmentally friendly way to move goods on land. Learn more at csx.com. CSX, how tomorrow moves. As a result of foreclosures, short sales, and other debts that have been written off by banks, people are now receiving 1099s for debt forgiveness. I'm attorney Matt Ayler with KL. We have attorneys devoted solely to taking your phone call free of charge. We also have tax attorneys with advanced legal degrees in tax law. If you've received a 1099 from a bank, call 800 New Laws. Let us sit down with you to explain your options. KL, you have questions, we have answers. Call Heyman and Lynn, Officer Orlando. South Canada Live continues with news from the Fox Orlando News Center on 540 WFLA. Good morning, it's 8:30. I'm Michelle Murillo, 540 WFLA News. Orange County Sheriff's deputies are still searching for 2 men involved in an armed robbery overnight. It happened at the Little Caesars Pizza on Claircona, Ocoee, when the 2 men ran in and held the workers at gunpoint demanding money. They jumped into a car and took off, but police gave chase. 2 of the suspects jumped out of the car, ran for it. The driver eventually ditched the vehicle and tried to run. highs today. Highs today reaching 95 tonight's low 71 with the showers tapering off. For this update around the clock on 540 WFLA, reaching the Weather Channel.
You know, in this debt ceiling situation, I'm taking a tough stand. I would not support anybody who votes to raise it. The Tea Party types in Congress all talk tough campaigning on this issue and fiscal restraint and an end to the insanity with the spending in Washington, and that's why we fell in love with them. We gave them our votes, and now they changed the complete configuration in the House of Representatives. They're in there with the Republicans. But I got to tell you, I am not hearing very much from Tea Party Republicans in the House of Representatives. Are you? Am I missing something? I have my ear to the ground 24 hours a day working this show. From these Tea Party candidates, I'm not hearing in great numbers people who are rock-solid committed to not voting, no matter what, to raise the debt ceiling. And we put these people in Congress because of their commitment to issues exactly like this. I'm not hearing that commitment. I think the Tea Party knees are buckling in Washington, that they're swallowing the Obama administration Kool-Aid and the fear tactics are working. Do I have that right? Let's go to Eric in Claremont. On the line with a Bud man. Good morning at 8:35, Eric.
Good morning, Bud. Bud, you're absolutely right. Reagan conservatives, my foot. They're backing down like there's no tomorrow. We're hearing news reports that there's more people in America that's actually getting some type of welfare than what the government's taking in taxes. We're giving money to other countries that are producing weapons and trying to get nuclear stuff, which they should be feeding their people because that's what the money and the aid's for. We are not cutting back what we need to come back, and all we're going to do is raise and raise and raise without any commitment. You and I would be going to jail if we've been doing what they're doing.
You're willing to take the chance. You're willing to bear the consequences, and I'm sure there will be some of not raising the debt ceiling.
But that's right. If you're in your household and you want to keep your house, you want to keep your car, you need to do things to pay your bills. We waste so much money in waste. It's unbelievable. On parties at the White House, for giving these colleges monies for stupid things for research.
Oh, I understand all of that, Eric, but that's nibbling around the edges when we're talking $14 trillion debt and they want another $2 trillion on the ceiling or else. Really. As far as I'm concerned, you start with a vote against raising the debt ceiling. That's where this has to start. Rich is in Orlando at 8:37. Rich, am I too extreme for you?
Yes. I want to know why you can't get Jack Nelson to talk about the debt ceiling. Because I respect Jack Nelson. I want to hear what is his outlook. This guy you brought in a while ago has no credibility, no credentials.
Where are you on raising the debt ceiling?
This is what the experts say. Wall Street says we have to raise it.
Where does it end, Rich? Do we just keep on raising it and spending ourselves into complete oblivion?
We raised it 7 times when Bush was president.
Sure, absolutely right. We've raised it 70 times, but it doesn't make it right. And now we are talking about numbers and debt levels from which I believe there is no return. You just can't keep doing this. It is pure insanity. Sherman and Sebastian, you're on the radio with a Bud man. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Hi.
First-time caller.
Well, terrific. Relax. Put your feet up. You're on the 50,000-watt front porch.
Yes, I think they shouldn't raise the debt ceiling. This country is broke. Where are they going to get the money from to do all these things? And basically, that's my comment. And
thank you very much. I think you happen to be right on the money. And here is Rory in Orlando. Rory, good morning.
Good morning, Bud. How are you?
Outstanding. How are you, my friend?
I'm fine. You made a comment about the Tea Party's knees buckling, and they're being co-opted by the Obama administration.
To a degree, that's true. There are some who are standing tall, but we sent an awful lot of people up there who've been awful quiet on this debt ceiling issue.
Well, I think more than being co-opted by the Obama administration, they're being co-opted by the Republican
Oh, there's
Party.
no question about it. And Trent Lott said that's exactly what we need to do with these people. Co-opt them into the party.
You know the old saying that people go into politics, go into Congress to change Washington, and Washington changes them. And I think that's what you're finding out, especially when the Tea Party aligned themselves with guys like Dick Armey and all the old school Republicans. What did they think they were going to happen? When they started letting those groups bankroll their organization, they didn't give that money for nothing. They wanted something in return.
Understand what you're saying, and I thank you for that. To Sanford, here's Matt weighing in. Good morning, Matt.
Hey, Bud, how are you?
Outstanding, as I said before, and that condition continues. As a matter of fact, I'm getting better by the minute.
I know you are. Look, I want to say that I heard, not specifically from Sandy Adams, but I called her office about this issue just last week, and they said at the time that she was not prepared to vote for the debt ceiling raising.
Well, you know, I tell you, Sandy Adams is impressing me. District 24, she took out Suzanne Cosmas. She's a conservative Republican, Tea Party person. She was at the Tea Party rally a couple of weeks ago that I emceed downtown, and we had thousands of patriots there. And I'm impressed with Sandy Adams. I'm going to be very honest, and this may be what actually shakes something loose. She's terrific, but we can't seem to interface with her people and get a commitment to get her on the show when she needs to be on this show, and she needs to be talking about this situation with the debt ceiling. My understanding is, too, that she will not vote for an increase in the debt ceiling, and that's exactly what needs to happen here, Matt, and that's what you're hearing as well.
That's what I'm hearing, and for what it's worth, but I call her office once a week. When I call them later on this morning when I know they're in, I'll say that I think I should hear her on your show. I listen to you to hear people like her.
Thank you. Give them a call. Maybe you can get through. Say, hey, contact the Budman and Jenna, and let's get this doggone interview done. We're about ready to say, the heck with it.
I think she should speak her mind. You know, the one thing I would like to end with is we elect these guys to do this, and regardless of what the media in D.C. says, or CNN, or PMSNBC, or any of the others, we will vote for them again.
Thank you. Thank you, Matt, so much. Hey, I got another hot topic. I mean, I got stuff coming out my ears here on the porch. I want to talk to you about this crackdown on hazing in Orange County. Off that incident at Dr. Phillips, where the kid was stuffed in a garbage can in the football locker room because he wasn't supposed to be in there as a JV guy. It was outrageous. Involved a bunch of star football players I think, frankly, they wanted to try and protect. And to a degree, they have. But they have tightened up on hazing here. Is this too tough, what Orange County is doing? Is hazing just a rite of passage for young people? And should people who are on the wrong end of hazing just man up, and it's just part of growing up? 407-916-5400. I'll tell you what I know and take your calls as we continue at 8:42. And a Budman with you here for my friends at Colorcrete of Central Florida, who make the great alternative to paint. You Colorcrete your house, your apartment building, your church, whatever building you're responsible for keeping in ship shape. You will not have to do it again until the year 2036. Is that long enough? That's a 25-year guarantee. What kind of guarantee did you get from the last painter who showed up at your place and took thousands of dollars of your money? Not much, right? If anything. A 25-year guarantee on the great paint alternative that is Colorcrete. I mean, you can't beat this. Colorcrete is so superior to paint that they can offer you the 25-year guarantee and a great price, too. Colorcrete is going to give you a protective barrier against wind-driven rain. It'll prevent mildew and put a stop to peeling, chalking, and cracking, and paint has problems in all these areas. Colorcrete, the price always terrific, with a 25-year guarantee, flat out astounding, and even better now, believe it or not. They've reduced it 10% to give you a break in this ongoing economic calamity. And also, they will give you a free pressure cleaning of your driveway and sidewalks. You can't beat Colorcrete. Find out about it. Call Jim Dawson. His family runs Colorcrete. They've been serving us for over 50 years. He'll tell you all about it, and he offers you happily a free estimate. Don't paint. Colorcrete. Get the free estimate. That's where you start. 407-851-3442. 407-851-3442. Their website's colorcreteusa.com.
From 540 WFLA, Orlando's 24-hour weather channel, today sunny with a high of 90, tonight clear with a low of 67, and tomorrow afternoon showers are possible with a high of 91. Get the latest news, weather, and traffic anytime at 540WFLA.com. Hey, how about lunch today at the Budman's very favorite restaurant? And thank goodness there are 4 of them. We're talking about Houlihan's. A terrific Orlando tradition. You're just going to love it. You know, at Houlihan's, that's where filet mignon meets truck stop fries, and everything in between is available on a huge menu for every taste and every price range. At Houlihan's, believe it or not, at lunch today, you can sample their new menu of 30 small plates from just $3. Flatbreads, sliders, kebabs, wow, and on up the line. Anything you want, and it all tastes great because, you see, they make it from scratch at Houlihan's. Go check them out. 4 locations, 192 in Kissimmee, I-Drive, East Colonial, and University Boulevard out near UCF. Great website, too. Houlihan's.com. Lunch today at Houlihan's. Well, Orange County, the school board is cracking down on the practice of hazing. I went through some hazing when I pledged a fraternity back in college.
and it didn't get any nastier. Then they rolled us in molasses, flour, and cornflakes in our underwear, and then made us do calisthenics with the heat turned up in the basement, drinking warm beer. Okay? The only thing, I'm not kidding, the only thing that was really scary was they blindfolded us, and the upperclassmen disoriented us and had us go up through the stairs of the fraternity house all over the place blindfolded while they were banging pots and pans in our ears and driving us crazy. And then they set us up on a winter's night to walk out onto the balcony and jump. But we didn't know where we were, and when we jumped, we dropped about 3 inches to the next level on the balcony, and of course you collapse in a scenario like that because you think you're going to be dropping 20 feet into a snowbank in your underwear, okay? So that's the nonsense I went through trying to get into this fraternity. And I'm not kidding, and that's exactly my experience with hazing. Sometimes it gets far more serious than that. And so it was out at Dr. Phillips High School, where the football players, and it's they got a great football program and big stars, and I frankly think here they got some pretty cushy treatment. But what happened was there was this junior varsity kid, this freshman, 15-year-old Darian Denson, who dared to venture into the football locker room, and he was actually instructed apparently by somebody in authority to go in and get some stuff, and he went in there, and the big varsity players, the big shots, the big stars, they didn't want this punk in there, and so they kind of messed with him, beat him up some, and stuffed him in a trash can, and he wound up in a neck brace in pretty rough shape. Well, ultimately, they lawyered this thing to the hilt because, my goodness, we have to be able to keep these football players on the field. And they got him to go through, to avoid a trial at the last minute, to go through a pretrial diversion program that includes paying restitution to the victims, so they essentially have nothing on their record and don't face the charges they could have faced. So that triggered a crackdown on hazing. Hazing is defined by the Orange County School Board in the Student Code of Conduct as performing any act of coercing another, including the victim, to perform any act that causes or creates a substantial risk of causing mental or physical harm. Well, they have now decided that serious hazing offenses, and they have different levels, level 1, 2, 3, and 4, serious ones like level 3 and 4, will be punishable by exclusion from sports and other extracurricular activities. They just adopted this earlier this week. Level 3 and level 4 will result in bans on sports participation. A level 3 hazing offense punishable by a 1-year exclusion from extracurricular activities. Level 4 offense, which they say is rare, the most serious, will result in a lifetime ban from extracurricular activities. Okay? So what about it here? What about it here? Is hazing, I mean, not the most serious, not a level 4, but is hazing just kind of part of a rite of passage? You know, and somebody who gets on the short end of a hazing situation just needs to man up. You know, it's just part of being a teenager, part of a rite of passage, part of team building, you know, for the football team or whatever, to have that kind of cohesion, you know, and you've got to kind of prove yourself to get in to the, you know, the good graces with a team or to get into a fraternity, as was my situation. Or is there no place for hazing in our schools whatsoever? They're cracking down. Is this too tough or not tough enough? 407-916-5400 at 8:52. Our last check of real-time traffic and weather together on the twos during the show. And we're looking at sunny and 95 today, mid-70s already here. The good news about this this situation is for minor hazing, you know, like making you sing a silly song, you know, whatever nonsense it might be, you know, similar to some of the stuff I went through in the fraternity house years ago. It's just level 1. And the penalties are not nearly as great. Maybe a warning, don't do that again, whatever else. But I think they do need to crack down on this stuff. And I wish those football players at Dr. Phillips had been put on trial. They should not have cut this deal at the last minute. And I don't think a kid who wasn't a star athlete would have gotten the kind of treatment the football players got. And they got to skate on this thing, essentially. They put a kid in a neck brace and terrorized him. And no one is denying that, stuffing him in a trash can. Because he'd been told by someone in authority to go in and get some stuff from the varsity locker room. And he wasn't on the varsity team, so we had to show him how tough we are. I think they need to show leniency with the fun stuff. But they need to crack down, and maybe even harder than this. Not just exclusion from sports and other activities, but there needs for severe hazing here, in my opinion, to be expulsion from the school. That's what needs to happen here. Get these thugs out of here. 407-916-5400 is the Budman's number. Sean, you're up in Tavares listening to me at 8:55. Thanks for tuning in from Lake County. Go ahead, Sean.
Hey, Bud, how you doing today?
Fire, very well. How are you? You off to a good start up there?
Not too bad. Getting a little warm out here trying to fix some sprinklers.
I wish I had a boat and some water skis and I was in Lake County. That's where I'd spend the day.
You're exactly right, sir. That's where I should be.
Go ahead.
About this hazing, I mean, it really shouldn't even be called hazing. It should be called humiliation. I mean, for somebody, just because you're smaller, doesn't give the right to be picked on. I mean, these kids got to go to school and try to learn. So, I mean, it's just, like I said, it shouldn't be called hazing. It should be called humiliation. And it should be put out of the schools completely. Anyone that's involved in it should be expelled, like you said. It's just, it doesn't go on in society. Why should it go on in school where our kids are there trying to learn?
Well, it doesn't go on without consequences in society, and that's the real problem here is these football players really got to skate, I think, because they're big-time football players, and that program means a lot out at Dr. Phillips. What kind of accountability does that teach these kids? They should have gone on trial and faced what were going to be criminal charges. Would have been better for them in the long run and better for the system, in my view, in terms of a deterrent.
Absolutely, but you do need to realize this. It does happen in society. There's plenty of people of a higher power that can get away with a lot more than what other people can. So it does go on in society.
Yeah, it does. But I'm saying that I think the criminal justice system is structured to deal with it. But you're right. In certain situations, people can buy their way out of that kind of accountability. Thank you, Sean, very much. Get back to the sprinkler work. That ought to keep you cool up in Lake County. To Palm Bay on the coast in South Brevard. Here's Steve on BHL. Hello, Steve.
Hey, Bud. How are you this morning?
Fine, thank you. Good morning to you.
Hey, what you describe as hazing seems to be, pretty innocuous and kind of fun. There's no real harm done.
Well, I didn't like the warm beer. Other than that, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's all, kind of a rite of passage, like you said.
Yeah, nobody got hurt.
I don't have a problem with that. It's when people get out of hand.
And stuffing a kid in a trash can and putting him in a neck brace and beating him up, that's out of hand.
Yeah, when you start getting, real emotionally.
So where are you on all of this, Steve?
I think there's a way you can have both. You can.
Well, that's why they did the three-tiered thing, level 1, level 2, level 3.
Well, you can have accountability, but you can still let them have their fun. Just have somebody in the organization, the school, the college, whatever.
Yep. Do you support this revision in the approach to hazing that the Orange County School Board has now adopted in the wake of the Dr. Phillips fiasco?
No, I think there's a better way to do it. I think you can have the dean or somebody in the organization that if somebody wants to have an initiation type procedure, they just get it approved, and then you have somebody that's monitoring it, an adult that's responsible, and they're also liable if anything goes awry. Beyond the plan, they are responsible for holding those people accountable for it.
All right, good deal. Thanks a lot, my friend. I appreciate it. Jen, Jeff, both went to college. Did you ever get into any of that nonsense with the hazing like I was talking about?
No, I really didn't. Jeff seems more like the hazer.
He definitely, he would be the hazer, not the hazy. I guarantee you that. What about it, Jeff, out at UCF? Any of that stuff going on?
Well, what you described sounded like Saturday morning at my apartment after a party. I was just talking to Jenna about
that. I'll tell you. Why does that not surprise me at all? You'd have to know Jeff as we know him and love him. That'll do it for this edition of BHO. We're going to do it one more time and call it a week. Tomorrow morning from 6 to 9 as we wake you up right and hit you with the hottest topics in talk radio and take calls from the best audience in the game. And that is you. And we thank you, one and all, for the growing success of BHL. Have a wonderful day. God bless you, and God bless America.